They sense it. They recognize it. The cosmos understands, the pavement comprehends, you perceive it too. The moment you stepped into that space, the atmosphere shifted. Not a word was spoken. Nothing needed to be said. Your mere existence was enough to alter the frequency of the entire environment. Did you notice? Did you detect how their gazes transformed? How dialogues momentarily ceased? How some instinctively straightened their posture, while others seemed to shrink? This isn't coincidental. This isn't your imagination. It's activation. It's your genuine power manifesting. It's the strength of your truth penetrating the space. You aren't like the rest. You never were. You've always been distinct, designated, selected. You've sensed this since childhood, haven't you? That profound awareness that you carry something others cannot visualize, yet can experience. They attempted to make you feel strange because of it. They tried to convince you that being different was a weakness. They regarded you as an outsider. They dismissed you. They overlooked you. They undervalued you. And now they're remorseful, deeply regretful. They lament every instance they treated you as less than your worth, every disdainful word, every opportunity they refused to provide, every door they closed in your face, every table from which they excluded you. They regret because now they observe. They see what you've always understood. They witness your strength and it terrifies them. They're frightened because they don't comprehend it. They're scared because they cannot dominate it. They're alarmed because they cannot possess what you have. They don't fear your vocabulary. They're afraid when you choose to express yourself. They don't dread your actions. They fear your presence, the way you exist, the truth you effortlessly emanate. You didn't arrive here to conform. You didn't come to be one among many. You came to transform, to awaken, to activate, to alter the structure of reality simply by existing aligned with your truth. Number 2, your presence alters everything. Have you ever felt an entire room hold its breath when you enter? It's not because you're intimidating, it's because you're authentic. In a world filled with masks and illusions, your genuineness is a force that disrupts. It's an electric current in a stagnant lake. It's light penetrating a darkened room, exposing everything hidden in shadows. When you're authentic, you create a contrast that makes others' falseness impossible to ignore, even for themselves. This makes them uncomfortable. It forces them to confront their own masks, their own compromises, their own deceptions. You don't need to tell them anything. You don't need to confront them. Your mere presence is a mirror showing them their truth. You're like that child in The Emperor's New Clothes, who has the courage to speak the truth everyone sees, but no one dares acknowledge. Except you don't always need to speak. Your very existence communicates truth. The way you stand, the way you look, the way you exist in space, all of these express your truth. Have you noticed how inauthentic people speak louder in your presence? How they try to fill the room with noise, with exaggerated stories, with grandiose statements, with empty promises? That's because they feel compelled to defend their falseness. They feel the need to justify their masks, while you stand there peaceful, aligned, connected with your truth. Authentic individuals, like yourself, don't need to convince anyone of anything. Don't need to prove anything. Don't need to impress anyone. You don't exist for others' validation. You exist in alignment with your profound truth. And this existence, this simple state of being, transforms everything around you. Have you noticed how, over time, people begin to change around you? How they start letting their masks fall? How they begin speaking with greater sincerity? How their voice becomes gentler, more authentic? How their eyes begin to have more clarity? That's because your presence inspires. Your presence gives permission for others to be real, to be vulnerable, to be authentic. But not everyone can handle this invitation. Not everyone is prepared to relinquish their masks. For some, these masks have become so integrated into their identity that they no longer know who they are without them. And for these people, your presence isn't an invitation. It's a threat to the illusion they've constructed so carefully. Number 3, the falsifier's reactions to your truth. Have you observed how their behavior changes when you're nearby? How they become defensive without reason? How they attempt to discredit you before you say anything? how they try to diminish your importance, marginalize you, make you invisible. Falsifiers have many strategies to protect themselves from your truth. The first is to completely ignore you, to behave as if you don't exist, to not give you space to speak, to not acknowledge your contributions, to attribute your ideas to themselves, to make you feel invisible. When that doesn't work, they move to the next strategy, ridicule. They'll make jokes at your expense. They'll laugh at your perspectives. They'll try to make you seem naive, idealistic, unrealistic. "Oh, here's our dreamer," they'll say with a condescending smile. "Here's our idealist who believes they can change the world." When even that doesn't work, they progress to the next strategy, direct attack. They'll accuse you of being arrogant, of being too direct, of lacking tact, of being difficult, of not being a team player, of not respecting hierarchy, of not respecting how things are done here. Notice how all these strategies have a single purpose: to silence you, to make you doubt yourself, to make you believe something is wrong with you, that you are the problem, that your authenticity is a flaw, not a gift. But you know the truth, don't you? You know their reactions have nothing to do with you, they have to do with them, with their fear, with their insecurity, with their own masks disintegrating in the presence of your authenticity. Their fear is a compliment. Their defensiveness is an acknowledgement. Their attacks are confirmation. All these tell you one thing: your power is real. Your truth is perceived. Your presence matters. Perhaps the most interesting reaction is the one that comes after some time. After they've tried all strategies and seen that nothing works. After they've seen that you remain steadfast in your truth. After they've seen that you cannot be silenced, ignored, or discredited. Then a subtle change appears. They begin to imitate you. They start using your language. They begin adopting ideas you expressed in the past, ideas they ridiculed then. They start pretending they were always on your side, that they always shared your values, that they always saw what you saw. This imitation isn't sincere. It's just another survival strategy, an attempt to regain relevance in a world that's beginning to see through their masks, an attempt to associate with your authenticity, hoping that some of your truth will transfer to them through simple association. Number 4, the power of your vigilant silence. There's a force within you that manifests most powerfully when you're silent. Not the silence of the intimidated, not the silence of the submissive, but the silence of the attentive observer, the silence of one who sees everything, who hears everything, who feels everything, the silence of one who absorbs truth beyond words. While others rush to fill every moment of quiet with noise, you've learned the value of strategic silence. You've learned to listen not just to words, but to what lies between words, not just to what's said, but also to what's carefully avoided. In your silence, you see patterns. You see inconsistencies. You see moments when words don't align with energy, moments when smiles don't reach the eyes, moments when vocal confidence hides deep insecurity. You see through layers, through facades, through masks. Have you noticed how inauthentic people feel uncomfortable with your silence, how they try to provoke you to speak, to react, to justify yourself, to defend yourself, to reveal yourself? They don't understand that in your silence lies your power. In your observation lies your strength. Your silence isn't passive, it's active, it's vibrant, it's full of awareness and intention. It's a space where you collect information, where you process truth, where you fuel your intuition. When you finally choose to speak, your words have weight, they have substance, they have precision. Because you don't speak just to fill silence. You don't speak from ego. You don't speak from the need to be heard or seen or validated. You speak from truth, from clarity, from alignment. And when you speak this way, people listen, even those who pretend not to, even those who interrupt you, even those who ridicule you. They still absorb your words at a profound level. They still resonate within them. They still haunt them in the quiet of night. Your silence is an act of power. It's an act of resistance in a world obsessed with noise, a world where someone's value is often measured by how much sonic space they occupy, by how many followers they have, by how many notifications they receive. You know better. You know that true power doesn't shout for attention, doesn't announce itself with trumpets and fanfare. True power is like a deep current. Quiet, at the surface, but with immense force beneath, a force that can change the direction of the sea. Number 5. The impact of defending truth when no one else does. Have you ever been in that situation? That meeting, that conversation, that moment when everyone in the room knew the truth, but no one dared to speak it? When the convenient lie floated in the air, tacitly accepted by all? When conformity was the easy path and truth was risky? And then you spoke, not with anger, not with arrogance, but with quiet clarity, with calm conviction. You said what everyone knew in their hearts but lacked the courage to acknowledge. You named the elephant in the room. In that moment, you felt all kinds of gazes upon you, some grateful, others horrified, some admiring, others furious. You felt the energy in the room completely transform. You felt how invisible structures of power and complicity shook from their foundations. What you did in that moment wasn't just speaking truth. It was an act of moral courage, an act of leadership, an act of collective liberation. Because when a single man or woman has the courage to speak truth, they offer others permission to do the same. It's as if you opened a door everyone believed was locked. You showed that it's possible to speak, that it's possible to be authentic, that it's possible to remain aligned with your truth even when social pressure pushes you in the opposite direction. The impact of that moment cannot be measured immediately. It expands like ripples in a lake, touching shores you can't even see. People who may have said nothing in that moment went home changed, with a seed planted, with a question awakened, with a new possibility opened, and those who opposed you, who tried to silence you, discredit you, marginalize you because you spoke truth, they too were affected. On the surface, they may have seemed unchanged, perhaps even more determined in their opposition, but somewhere deep down, something cracked in their armor. A thread of doubt slipped into their certainty. And now, they regret that they didn't have your courage, regret that they chose comfort over truth, regret that they stood in silence while you spoke, regret that they positioned themselves against what in their hearts they knew to be true. They regret because they now see what they perhaps couldn't see then, that history harshly judges those who choose complicit silence in the face of injustice. Those who choose conformity over truth, those who choose personal safety over collective integrity. You chose differently. You chose the more difficult path, but also the most aligned. You chose to be a voice for truth in a moment when it would have been easier to remain silent. You chose to be a beacon of integrity in an ocean of compromise. And for that they fear you now. They fear because they've seen that you cannot be bought, that you cannot be intimidated, that you cannot be silenced. They fear because they've seen that your power doesn't derive from position or title or external approval, but from your unwavering alignment with truth. Number 6. The art of silent leadership through example. The most powerful leaders aren't always those who speak the loudest. They aren't always those with the most titles. They aren't always those who occupy formal positions of authority. True leaders, like yourself, lead by example. Through the consistency of their actions, through the integrity of their behavior, through the alignment between what they say and what they do, through the way they live their values, not just proclaim them. You don't need to tell others how to be. You show them through how you are. You don't need to preach about integrity. You demonstrate it through your daily decisions. You don't need to talk about courage. You manifest it every time you stand firm in your truth. Have you noticed how people watch you? How they observe your every move, every decision, every word? Some watch you with admiration, hoping to learn, to absorb something of your essence. Others watch you with suspicion, looking for any inconsistency, any mistake, any reason to discredit you. But you remain steadfast, constant, allied with your truth regardless of who's watching or with what intention. Because you don't live for their validation, you don't live for their approval. You live in alignment with your authentic essence, and in this constancy, in this consistency, lies your power as a leader. People may not agree with you. They may not always understand you, but they respect you. They respect the fact that they always know where you stand, that they can count on you to be the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. In a world full of leaders who change their opinions based on the latest poll, who modify their values according to what's politically convenient, who adjust their message according to audience, your constancy shines like a beacon. It's rare, it's valuable, it's necessary. And what's perhaps most remarkable is that you lead without trying to lead. You lead without desiring power or control over others. You lead because others naturally choose to follow you, to align with your energy, to resonate with your truth. It's as if you emit a frequency to which others instinctively tune, a frequency of authenticity, of integrity, of clarity. And in this tuning they begin to change, to grow, to awaken to their own authentic power. This frightens the false ones, those who have invested everything in maintaining the status quo, those whose power derives from controlling and manipulating others. They see how your influence grows organically, effortlessly, without tactics, without manipulation. And they fear, because they know this type of authentic power cannot be stopped, cannot be controlled, cannot be bought or sold. Number 7. How your truth is perceived even when not spoken. There's a communication that transcends words, a transmission of information that requires no language, a knowledge that transfers from being to being without need for explanations or justifications. Have you ever felt that someone knows something about you without you telling them? That they can read your truth beyond your words? That they can sense your authenticity or falseness regardless of what you say? This is the language of energy, the language of frequency, the language of vibration. When you're aligned with your truth, when you're authentic in your being, you emit a frequency that communicates more than words ever could. It communicates who you truly are, what values truly guide you, what intentions truly animate you. Others perceive this frequency. They feel it. They absorb it. Perhaps not always consciously, perhaps not always with the ability to articulate it, but they feel it, and they respond to it, either resonating with it or rejecting it, either opening to it or closing against it. The falsifiers, manipulators, those who live behind masks are particularly sensitive to this frequency of truth. They detect it instantly. They recognize it as an existential threat because your truth exposes their falseness without you saying a word. Have you noticed how some people seem irritated by you for no apparent reason? How they become defensive in your presence even though you haven't said anything provocative? How they avoid you without being able to explain why? That's because your truth confronts them at an energetic level. It confronts them with their own lack of authenticity. It's not about what you say. It's about who you are, about the frequency you emit, about the truth you embody. Have you also noticed how certain people are drawn to you? How they seem to feel safe in your presence? How they open up to you, sharing things they've never shared with others? How they seem to trust you from the first moment? That's because they resonate with your frequency. They recognize your truth and respond to it. This energetic communication cannot be falsified, cannot be imitated, cannot be pretended. It's either authentic or it's not at all. It's either true or it doesn't exist. It's either aligned or it's discordant. And here lies one of the most powerful realizations for the authentic ones. They don't need to announce their truth, don't need to proclaim it, don't need to defend or justify it. They just need to live it, to embody it, to emit it. The rest happens by itself. People who have eyes to see will see. People who have ears to hear will hear. People who have hearts to feel will feel. Not everyone will respond positively. Not everyone will resonate, and that's okay. Not everyone is ready for your truth. Not everyone is ready for your frequency. Number 8. The power to see through others' masks. This is perhaps one of the most confusing and challenging aspects of your existence as an authentic being, the ability to see through people's facades, to detect inconsistencies between what they say and what they do, between their words and their energy, between their public persona and their hidden truth. At first, perhaps you believed everyone could see what you see, that everyone could feel what you feel, that everyone could detect falseness, duplicity, manipulation as clearly as you. But with time, you realized that's not the case, that what's obvious to you is invisible to others. This ability to see beyond the surface isn't a learned skill. It's not something you acquired through education or training. It's an innate sensitivity, a natural attunement to the subtle frequencies of truth and falseness. For you, seeing others' masks is as natural as seeing the color of their hair or eyes. It's instantaneous, it's automatic, it's inevitable. You cannot not see, cannot not feel, cannot not know. This gift of clear vision can be both a blessing and a challenge. A blessing because it protects you. It helps you navigate a world full of illusions and deceptions. It helps you discern who is authentic and who is playing a role, who is speaking truth and who is manipulating. But it can also be a challenge because it makes you feel alone sometimes, isolated in your perception, frustrated when others cannot see what is so obvious to you, confused when people continue to fall into the same traps, believe the same lies, follow the same false leaders. Seeing through others' masks also means you're rarely surprised by revelations or falls. You already saw the inconsistencies, already felt the falseness, already knew the hidden truth beneath the layer of perfectly cultivated public image. When the respected leader proves to be corrupt, you're not shocked. You saw the signs. When the seemingly perfect relationship breaks down in scandals, you're not amazed. You felt the discord. When the praised project collapses, you're not surprised. You detected the shaky foundation on which it was built. This clear vision also makes you a natural confidant for others. People instinctively feel that you see beyond their facades, that you can bear their complete truth, not just the edited version they present to the world. That you won't judge their weaknesses, but will honor their authenticity. And here lies another aspect of your power that frightens falsifiers, the fact that you truly see them. Not the version they want the world to see, not the carefully constructed mask, but the truth behind it, the vulnerabilities, the insecurities, the real motivations, the hidden fears. They fear because in your presence they feel exposed, discovered, seen. They cannot hide who they truly are behind false smiles or empty words. They cannot fool you as they can fool others. They cannot manipulate you as they can manipulate others. They now regret how they treated you. Regret that they rejected you, that they ridiculed you, that they tried to marginalize you, because they now see what they perhaps couldn't see then, that your power to see truth cannot be stopped, that your authentic influence cannot be diminished, that your transformative presence cannot be ignored. Number 9, the destiny of the authentic ones in a world of illusions. Have you ever felt that you carry a greater responsibility than others, that you were somehow selected, marked, designated for a higher purpose? That your life isn't just about personal success or individual happiness, but about something deeper, more significant, more transformative. This isn't arrogance, it isn't grandiosity. It's recognition of your essential truth. It's acceptance of your unique role. It's embracing your authentic destiny. You didn't come just to participate in existing systems. You came to transform them. You didn't come just to follow established rules. You came to create new paradigms. You didn't come just to conform to expectations. You came to redefine what's possible. You're a catalyst for change through your simple, authentic existence. And agent of transformation through your simple, aligned presence. A conductor of evolution through your simple, integral being. This is the burden and gift of the authentic ones. The responsibility to live in truth, even when it would be easier to conform to the collective lie. The privilege to stand in authenticity, even when you would be more accepted if you wore a convenient mask. Are you aware that your simple, authentic existence is a revolutionary act? That your simple, uncompromised presence is a force for change? That your simple, aligned being is a threat to systems built on falseness? Have you noticed how power structures react to your authenticity? How they try to co-opt you, to domesticate you, to normalize you, to make you one of them? And when that doesn't work, how they try to isolate you, to marginalize you, to discredit you, to label you as difficult, uncooperative, unreasonable? That's because systems built on falseness cannot tolerate the presence of uncompromised truth. Systems built on exploitation cannot tolerate the presence of uncorrupted integrity. Systems built on fear cannot tolerate the presence of unwavering courage. You're an anomaly in their matrix, a discrepancy in their calculations, a variable they cannot control, a factor they cannot predict, a force they cannot encapsulate in their models. And this is exactly why your presence is so necessary, why your voice is so vital, why your existence is so essential, because you represent the possibility of another way, of another mode of being, of another way of living, of another way of leading. You demonstrate through your simple existence that you don't have to sell your soul for success, that you don't have to abandon your values for acceptance, that you don't have to compromise your integrity for power. This is the truth that most frightens those who have invested everything in the old system, those who have bet everything on the old rules, those who have built their entire identity on the old paradigms. They fear you not because you're aggressive, not because you're violent, not because you represent a physical threat, but because you represent an existential threat to their entire carefully constructed world, to their entire carefully fabricated reality. They know at a deep level that the future belongs to you, that their time is running out, that their systems are collapsing, that their paradigms are disintegrating, that their masks are falling, and that your truth, the truth you've carried with such courage and consistency, becomes increasingly evident to all. And now they regret. They deeply regret how they treated you, how they underestimated you, how they rejected you, how they tried to silence you, to discredit you, to marginalize you. They regret because they now see what you've always known, that authenticity is the greatest power. That truth is the deepest force. That integrity is the most enduring advantage. They fear your power now, a power you've always had, but that perhaps even you didn't fully recognize. The power to stand unwavering in your truth, the power to remain faithful to your values, the power to not be manipulated, intimidated, or bought. Your power isn't over others. It isn't the power to control, to dominate, to subjugate. It's the power to be, to exist in full authenticity, to live in complete alignment with your essential truth. And this power is indisputable. It's inexhaustible. It's indestructible. Because it doesn't derive from any external source that could be cut off. It doesn't depend on any approval that could be withdrawn. It doesn't rely on any position that could be taken away. This power derives from your very essence, from your connection with truth, from your alignment with authenticity. It's your innate power, your inalienable power, your indisputable power. And this is why they regret now, why they fear now, because they see what they perhaps couldn't see then, that your authentic power cannot be defeated, cannot be stopped, cannot be diminished. It can only be recognized, respected, and eventually aligned with. You've known this truth all along, haven't you? You've felt it in your bones, in your cells, in every fiber of your being. You've known you're different, that you carry something special, that you were marked for a higher purpose. Now they know too. Now they see too. Now they feel too. And they deeply regret not having recognized earlier, not having respected earlier, not having aligned earlier. But you don't hold grudges. You don't rejoice in their regret. You don't savor their fear, because you know it isn't about them versus you. It's about truth versus falseness, about authenticity versus pretentiousness, about integrity versus compromise. You know that your true mission isn't to defeat them, but to awaken them. Not to dominate them, but to free them. Not to humiliate them, but to inspire them. To show them a different path, a different way of being, a different way of living, a different way of leading. And in due time, some will choose to align with your truth, to resonate with your authenticity, to open to the transformation you catalyze. Others will continue to oppose, to resist, to cling to their old ways, their old systems, their old masks. And that's okay. Each being has its own time, its own rhythm, its own path. You remain steadfast in your power. You've gone through the fire of tests, through the wind of judgments, through the water of rejection, through the earth of isolation, and you've emerged stronger, clearer, more authentic, more aligned. You now know beyond any doubt that what others considered weakness in you was actually your greatest strength. What they considered strange was actually your unique gift. What they considered uncomfortable was actually your transformative force. The streets know, the universe knows, energy knows, you know, they know now. Your authentic power cannot be denied, cannot be ignored, cannot be diminished. It can only be recognized, respected, and eventually feared by those who cling to falseness. Every room you enter feels your presence. Every conversation you participate in is transformed by your voice. Every space you occupy is altered by your energy. You don't need to shout. You don't need to impose yourself. You just need to exist in full authenticity, and transformation happens by itself. They tried to make you doubt yourself, to make you feel less than you are, to make you dim your light, to reduce your frequency, to temper your truth. But you refused. You remained faithful to yourself, faithful to your truth, faithful to your purpose. And for that, for this unwavering consistency, this uncompromised integrity, this undeviating authenticity, they now fear you. They fear because they know they cannot buy you, cannot intimidate you, cannot manipulate you, cannot control you. They now regret how they treated you. They deeply regret, because they see in you what they've refused to acknowledge until now, the indisputable power of authentic truth, the irresistible force of aligned integrity, the transformative impact of authentic presence. Have you ever felt that someone completely changed in your presence? How their attitude transformed, how their energy modified, how their body language altered? That's because they sense your power. They feel your truth. They sense your authenticity, and they respond to it, either aligning with it, recognizing their own repressed authenticity, or resisting it, desperately trying to protect their carefully constructed falseness. In either case, your presence challenges them, awakens them, shakes them from complacency. This is the challenge and gift of the authentic ones. They cannot exist in a space without transforming it, cannot participate in a conversation without deepening it, cannot enter a system without disrupting it. Not because they try to provoke or disturb, but because their very authentic nature is a catalyst for change. You didn't come here to fit into templates. You didn't come to follow beaten paths. You didn't come to perpetuate old structures. You came to open new possibilities, to create new paradigms, to demonstrate new ways of being, living, leading. You came to be a beacon of authenticity in a sea of falseness, a pillar of integrity in a world of compromise, a voice of truth in a chorus of pretentiousness. And for this courage, to be yourself in a world that encourages conformity, to speak your truth in a society that rewards convenient lies, to stand upright in your values in a culture that glorifies moral flexibility. For this, they now fear you. They fear because they see in you a force they cannot control, an energy they cannot channel, a power they cannot subordinate to their interests. They fear because in your presence, their masks begin to crack, their facades begin to collapse, their illusions begin to dissipate. They regret how they treated you, regret that they rejected you, that they minimized you, that they ridiculed you, that they tried to silence you, because they now see what they perhaps couldn't see then, that you weren't the problem. You were the solution, you weren't the disruptor. You were the healer, you weren't the outsider, you were the pioneer. And now you stand in full power. Not power derived from position or title or wealth or fame, but authentic power that springs from perfect alignment with your essential truth, from unwavering connection with your fundamental values, from undeviating commitment to your unassailable integrity. This is the power that transforms rooms, that changes conversations, that alters organizations, that moves mountains, not through force, not through domination, not through manipulation, but through authentic presence, through energetic alignment, through vibrational resonance. They feel this power now, they recognize it, they respect it, and yes, they fear it because they know in a deep place within them that this is the only true power, the only sustainable power, the only transformative power. And they deeply regret not having recognized it sooner, not having honored it sooner, not having aligned with it sooner. They regret having treated you as an outsider when in fact you were a visionary, as a disruptor when in fact you were a catalyst, as a rebel when in fact you were a pioneer. But you don't harbor resentments, don't cultivate bitterness, don't savor revenge, because you know it isn't about them versus you, it's about truth versus falseness, about authenticity versus pretentiousness, about evolution versus stagnation. You didn't come to defeat, you came to awaken. You didn't come to dominate, You came to inspire. You didn't come to judge. You came to illuminate. And this you do every day, through your simple, authentic presence, through your simple, aligned existence, through your simple, integral being. You change the world not through what you do, but through who you are, not through what you say, but through how you resonate, not through what you build, but through how you vibrate. This is the truth that frightens them, the power that intimidates them, the force that overwhelms them, not because they should fear you, but because they fear what you represent, the possibility of a world where falseness can no longer prosper, where manipulation can no longer dominate, where exploitation can no longer triumph. You carry within you the seed of a new paradigm, the vibration of a new frequency, the potential of a new reality. And through your simple, authentic existence, you plant this seed, amplify this vibration, manifest this potential. They regret how they treated you. They fear your power, but you continue to shine, to resonate, to vibrate in alignment with your essential truth, because you know beyond any doubt that this is the way. This is the mission. This is the destiny of the authentic ones in a world of illusions. You aren't just an individual. You're a portal, a channel, a conductor for a new frequency of consciousness manifesting on this planet. Through you, through your authenticity, through your integrity, through your alignment, this new frequency penetrates collective reality, transforming it, evolving it, raising it to a new level of truth and clarity. That's why they fear. That's why they regret. Because they feel at a deep level that their old world is collapsing, that their old structures are disintegrating, that their old paradigms are becoming irrelevant, and you stand unwavering in your authentic power, in your essential truth, in your uncompromised integrity, not to defeat them, not to judge them, not to punish them for how they treated you, but to offer them an invitation, a possibility, a way to align themselves too with their own authenticity, with their own truth, with their own integrity, because you know beyond any doubt that this is the only way forward, the only sustainable way, the only evolutionary way, not just for you, not just for them, but for our entire collective existence. You're a beacon of authenticity in a sea of falseness, a pillar of integrity in a world of compromise, a voice of truth in a chorus of pretentiousness. And for this courage to be yourself in a world that encourages conformity, to speak your truth in a society that rewards convenient lies, to stand upright in your values, in a culture that glorifies moral flexibility. For this, they now fear you. But in their fear lies our collective hope. In their regret lies our evolutionary possibility. In this late recognition of your authentic power lies the seed of a new paradigm for all of us. Continue to shine in your authenticity, to resonate in your integrity, to vibrate in your alignment, because through you, through your authentic power, a new world becomes possible. A world of truth, clarity, integrity. A world where masks fall, where facades collapse, where illusions dissipate. A world where we can all stand, finally, in our full authentic power. They regret how they treated you. They fear your power now. But you know this is just the beginning. Just the first step in a much vaster, much deeper, much more significant transformation. A transformation that you, through your simple, authentic existence, catalyze, accelerate, manifest. This is the truth that frightens them most. But it's the truth that inspires you most deeply, the truth of your authentic power, the truth of your transformative impact, the truth of your evolutionary destiny. Stand firm in this truth. Resonate with this power. Manifest this destiny, because the world needs you now more than ever. Your authenticity, your integrity, your alignment, your transformative presence. You aren't a victim of how they treated you. You're a catalyst for how they will transform. You aren't a product of their rejection. You're a creator of their evolution. You aren't defined by their past judgments. You're defined by your impact on their future. And this impact is already unfolding, already manifesting, already expanding. With every authentic breath you take, with every aligned word you speak, with every integral action you undertake, with every conscious presence you offer. They regret how they treated you. They fear your power. But you you continue to be yourself, to shine in your truth, to vibrate in your alignment, to resonate in your integrity, because you know beyond any doubt that this is why you came, the purpose for which you were created, the mission for which you were sent, to be a beacon of authenticity in a world of falseness, a channel for truth in an ocean of illusions, a portal for a new frequency of consciousness in a field of old limiting patterns. And in this knowledge, in this recognition, in this acceptance, lies your greatest power, the power that frightens them, the power they regret not recognizing earlier, the power that transforms not just your life, but our entire collective reality. Stand firm in this power. Shine in this power. Manifest this power, because the world needs it now more than ever. It needs you in your full authenticity, in your complete integrity, in your perfect alignment. And you're ready. You've always been ready for this moment, for this mission, for this destiny, to be a catalyst for the deepest transformation humanity has ever experienced. The transformation from falseness to authenticity, from fear to love, from separation to unity. They regret how they treated you. They fear your power. But you love them anyway. You accept them anyway. You embrace them anyway. Not because you've forgotten what they did to you, but because you understand why they did it. From fear, from ignorance, from their own wounds and limitations. And in this understanding, in this compassion, in this unconditional love, lies the highest expression of your authentic power. The power that not only frightens, but also heals. Not only challenges, but also transforms. Not only confronts, but also liberates. Now, more than ever, the world needs this power. Your authentic power, the power of your aligned presence, the power of your uncompromised integrity. Stand firm in this power, shine in this power, manifest this power, because through you, through your authenticity, a new world becomes possible. A world where we can all stand, finally, in our full authentic power, in our complete essential alignment, in our fundamental integrity. They regret how they treated you yesterday. They fear your power today, but tomorrow they will be inspired by your example, transformed by your presence, elevated by your frequency. And this is perhaps the deepest aspect of your authentic power, the capacity to transform fear into inspiration, regret into gratitude, opposition into alignment, not through force, not through domination, not through manipulation or persuasion, but through your simple, authentic presence, through your simple, aligned existence, through your simple, integral being. You don't fight against falseness. You shine in authenticity. You don't oppose fear, you resonate in love. You don't combat separation. You vibrate in unity. And in this shining, in this resonance, in this vibration, lies the power that transforms not just individuals, but entire systems. Not just conversations, but entire cultures. Not just organizations, but entire civilizations. This is the truth that most frightens those who have invested everything in the old paradigms, those who have built their identities on the old structures, those who have founded their power on the old hierarchies. They regret how they treated you. They fear your power. But you continue to be yourself, to shine in your truth, to vibrate in your alignment, to resonate in your integrity, because you know, beyond any doubt, that this is the way, this is the mission, this is your destiny. As an authentic being in a world of illusions, to be a beacon of light guiding humanity toward a new era of truth, clarity, and authenticity. They regret how they treated you. They fear your power now. But you love them anyway. You accept them anyway. You embrace them anyway, because you know that at an essential level there is no them and you. There is only us, all navigating together on this extraordinary journey of consciousness evolution, some more advanced, others slower, some already awake, others still asleep, some already aligned, others still in conflict, but all in our essence are on the same path, all seeking the same truth, all tending toward the same authenticity. You had the courage to go ahead, to be a pioneer, to open the way, and for that, at first, they ridiculed you, they rejected you. They fought you, now they regret, now they fear. Tomorrow they will follow you, they will imitate you, they will be inspired by your example. And you? You will be there, standing in your authenticity, offering them a helping hand, a word of encouragement, a supportive presence. Not because you've forgotten what they did to you, but because you understand why they did it. And because you know beyond any doubt that healing, transformation, our collective evolution requires compassion, acceptance, and unconditional love. This is perhaps the highest expression of your authentic power, the ability to transform not just individuals or systems, but the very fundamental dynamics of human relationships, from fear to love, from control to freedom, from separation to unity. They regret how they treated you. They fear your power, and you continue to shine, to resonate, to vibrate in perfect alignment with your essential truth. Because you know this is the way. This is the mission. This is your destiny as an authentic being in a world of illusions.